my first day as a commission salesperson. Because one of the things that I'm doing is reflecting back to some of the earlier lessons that I had to learn about life, business, things that I needed to do, things that I had to felt compelled to do this. I didn't even want to set up the regular camera, so I'm going to do a Google Hangout. Learn and deal with and understand. So let me tell you about it. I was coming from one contract of furniture office business to another one. A good friend of mine named Kevin, he set it up. It was just, let's straight up, I was walked right on in. The interview process was merely a formality. There was 30 minute, 45-minute conversation. He kind of did my, oh, nice resume. That's about the extent of the resume. What we talked about most was my previous job in lead generation. I worked for a company, Rent a Crate. That was my whole job, was just generate leads. That's all I did, 8 hours, 10 or 12 hours a day. That's all I did. So he was really interested in that because you can buy leads. There's leads you can buy, but typically if you can buy them, someone else is buying them. So sometimes they're really beat up. And by the time you get to the prospective client, they're really fed up with the phone calls. So he was looking for someone who could bring their own leads in, manage the install process, the sales presentation process, all of that stuff. So came in and, it was a simple deal. 3 months draw, 3,000 a month. So if I made more than my draw, I got that. Plus I wouldn't get to draw. And after the 3 months, it was, you're on your own. I was there a year. Actually a little bit longer than a year. So I go in and that was it. No training. I got walked around the office. I was shown to the people who worked in the warehouse, because salespeople, it was like there was the owner of the company and then the salespeople came after him. We pretty much ran the place because without us, there was no place. I had my own office for the first time. Had a key, locked my own desk, and would lock myself in there and just make a million phone calls. And then one day it's like, I got my own office. I've never had my own office before. I've worked in a fucking cube. I don't believe this. I got my own office. I mean, it was a big office with an L-shaped desk and everything. My computer, my email address, they set it all up. And it was really interesting because fortunately, I understood the sales funnel process for office furniture. And I'll give it to you. You have people with small offices, they can commit and buy very quickly. But the ones you want, because someone asked me a question like, what is a sales funnel? And I was just like, for real? You could Google that really quick. And I'll go into the sales funnel process for the office furniture, because the companies that I work for, the better companies, have classifications of the funnel. There is not one funnel. There's 2 or 3. I'll give you the big funnel. Big funnel, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies, repeat business, purchase orders. That was, if you can get that, that was like the holy grail, because that could be business for years. That was first funnel. Typically, that's a lot of hand holding, a lot of smoothing. It is very good to know how to play golf, because 85% of those deals were done on the golf course. I was ignorant of that when I got into it, because no one is just going to walk in and give an unknown company $1 million or $2 million contract. It's not happening. They got to get to know you. They got to date you for a little while. Then, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. So I was going after targets, and I got one. And then the owner, this is what he tried to do. But once again, living in the hood, going through the bullshit I went through, I knew how things could go because I was sitting there because I got in, the woman's name was Helena, got an appointment, went in, I knew who I was selling against. That made it really, really easy. Got in, and it was it was crazy because I saw the gaps in his plan. He was going for max margin. I went for a decent margin. I didn't go for max margin because this was a very, very big project. It was a $4 million project. So I get it. I get in, and what I do is I ingratiate myself to Helena. I make sure that I'm her guy. So when I take it to the owner, he did exactly what I thought he was going to do. He's like, well, that's good. But what I'll do is I'll take this over. And since I'll do the work, you'll just get 25% or maybe, 15, and then this is when the gank was going in place, because he's like maybe 15 to 25% as maybe a finder's fee. Okay, let me give you the numbers. $4 million contract. There's going to be overruns. There's going to be things. Profit I was looking at that I estimated was about 1.8. 50% of 1.8, or really 15%. There's a huge differential in that. There's a huge, 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 huge. So I knew it was coming. And then, like clockwork, about an hour later, Helena calls because I had told her the deal. And Helena and I, we had a real conversation. That's one of the reasons I liked her. We had a really, really good conversation because for someone to be in her position, she caught a lot of hell. And I just said it. I said, wow, for you to have this position, you probably have caught a lot of hell. Those were my exact words. And she just like, you would not believe it. I said, look at me. I would believe it and more. And we both broke out laughing, right? So I bonded with her because I knew what was going to happen. She calls him. And then she says, and he comes knocking on my door. Hey, I just got a call from Helena. She just really likes you. That's what he kept saying. He just kept looking at me like I was a parakeet in the cage. She's like, she really likes you. She's like, you're her guy. So I guess you're running this by yourself. And the look on his face, because he knew that he couldn't pull the leprechaun trick that he was going to pull. No, it's like, oh, here's a pot of gold, and we're going to make it disappear. So we get in there, and it was like project went on for about, because the thing is, as the project was going on, I had left the company, but I was still getting paid from the company because that I did that project. And fortunately for us, we had contracts. There was no handshake. We had contracts. So all this stuff, and it was open. So I got paid after I was gone because it was like roughly a 2-year project. And I look back at those days and it's just amazement, because now let me tell you about the jobs before that. I didn't know the game. I had no clue to what was happening. I walked someone in to a pretty juicy. It's about $15,000 profit deal, 15 to 25. I mean, there was some range, but there was definitely a lot of meat on that bone. They were just clueless to color swatch choices and things. So I go out. I got a friend of a friend who's an interior designer. She meets with him. I'm out. I got pushed out. No, so okay. So I'm thinking she's gonna take care of me. She's gonna take care of me. I walked her in this deal. It was just a slam dunk. Heard about the deal through the grapevine. Knew where she got the furniture. I didn't even get so much as a, hey, let's go to dinner. Yes. And I was like, okay, we're not doing that again. And that's how I knew, because the thing is, as a salesperson, you're just so happy to make the deal. You're just so thrilled to get in there and close the deal, make it happen, that you don't know how vulnerable you are without a signed contract. You're very, very vulnerable. So I learned, there was a good, I call it the $25,000 lesson. If you walk someone in, make sure that you have that thing locked down and that they come under you and that they work for you. If you do not do that, at any point, they can take your deal. So that was a really important lesson. Then before that, because that was really the only screwed up thing that happened before that with that job. Then the job before that, I learned of what I like to call the only black guy in the room syndrome. Older people were somewhat uncomfortable. They were not like overtly racist, but as someone who really calls out black folks on stupid shit, white folks on stupid shit, Mexican, anyone, when I bring up there was racism because I don't really talk about that much. I rarely bring it up. And I could just feel the tension because there was an older salesman and I used to call him Dabber Don because he had the silk ties and the nice shirt and the cufflinks and everything. And even had a guy come to the office and shine his shoes. He was that kind of guy. Then one day where I was in his office because he was working on the deal and he was coming in the golf course angle. Unbeknownst to me, I didn't even know he was meeting with this guy on the golf course. Had no clue. So I'm in his office because he wanted to talk to me. Then he's like, Cameron, I think we're butting heads here. And I was like, trust me, Dapper Dan, I'm not fucking any chicks that you would be interested in. And I just laughed. He said, no, not like that. I have a client, Ed. I was like, you have a client, Ed? Okay. And you're talking to him. And at this point, I'm going, if you have a client, how could I be talking to him? Because from my understanding, if you're talking about Ed blank blank, there is no contract. He's not made a decision. And to be frank with you, he didn't tell me he was talking to you. And he's like, oh, he's just a really polite and sophisticated guy. And, we just had a little misunderstanding. I just thought I'd, run it by you. Essentially, that was get the fuck off this deal. I didn't. And I got it. Then he goes to the owner of the company, says I stole his deal. Owner of the company gives him the commish. I gets nothing. And they both look at me. It's like, don't do that again. I quit the next day. Next day, I was like, oh, this is fucked up, beyond fucked up. That was just really, I'm telling you all this stuff because I'm beginning to understand some stuff. I'm beginning to understand you better and get a feel. As someone who's gone through a lot of real bullshit in the field of sales, to me, online sales are easy compared to in-person sales, which take psychology, learning body language, knowing the backstory, doing your research. Whereas online, you just have 12, 15 seconds to make the sale. So it's all about your presentation. It's about your thumbnail. It's about your images. It's about how your website. And that's hard, but compared to in-person selling, it's easy to me. It's hard, but it's not as hard as learning how to sell to strangers on a consistent basis. Now, going back to why I put in commission and, my last job because, the other ones were, salary plus commission and stuff, but this was 100% commission. After 3 months, I was still there because I was making money. And what I learned was how to run a business. And I didn't know that I was learning how to run a business. And just to give you some background on how this works, you get your leads, you get your sales funnel together, and I'll talk more exclusively on the sales funnel in a minute. When you get all that stuff together, you get your big pool of leads, whatever way you're getting them, whether you're buying them or earning them or getting them through network marketing. Then you got your presentation phase. Well, first of all, find a lead, and then you must acquire. You got to get them in the funnel, because just knowing that they're there, that's kind of like the tip of the funnel, because they're not really in your funnel until they know that you exist and they've acknowledged that you exist. Big part of it. Then you go through the funnel, and the funnel starts like this. And as they go through the pipeline, it gets smaller and smaller because you're qualifying people and you're weeding people out. Can they buy? Are they interested in our products? And so on and so on. Then you get to the end, and there's like this little bit of trickle. And those are your deals. So 1,000 people go in to the tip. And at the end, if you sell 100, 150, which would be awesome, because that's a 10% close rate, 10, 15%. And in the furniture business, that would be amazing. You'd be a multi-millionaire. But just for the sake of this conversation, that's your sales funnel. Online, you can develop a sales funnel, and it's a little flatter because you advertise, they go in. What I'm learning, and there's so many different ways to do this. There's no one way. But what I'm learning is, if you can get not even a funnel, just point A to point B. Point A is, hey, I exist. Point B, they check out. That to me is the most desirable option, which comes into price points, which comes into offerings, which comes into relationships. But because no one's going to buy. Well, that's not true. That's kind of happened. I'm not even going to say that. Very few people are going to buy instantly a $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 product online. There are people who do it every day, but there's more to it. And it's very much like the traditional selling methodology of being out in the real world. It's very similar. It's very similar. Because one of the things that I've started to do with the bigger packages is, when someone buys, I'll call them up. And I've had people who were shocked. It's like, oh, wow, I didn't expect you to call. Because no one's doing it. No one's doing it. No one's doing it. And that's one of the things. So what I'm having this conversation for you is for you to be successful online at a larger level. Because I'll just give it to you. If your product is between 25 and maybe $200, you can sell a lot of stuff and never have to pick up the phone and talk to anybody. But when you get to the bigger price points, if you're well known, that'll work. Like, what's his name? Frank Kern. If he comes out with a $25,000 product, he's going to get people on his email list to buy because he's Frank Kern. But if he was Frank Ballou and people are like, who? It wouldn't work, because, he's earned his reputation. He's built up a reputation in the industry. But, like I said, 25 to $200, you could sell that and relatively be unknown. Maybe even if your presentation is real slick, $500. But when you get to the $1,000 range, the $2,500 range, the $3,000, the $4,000, the $5,000, that stuff is just not going to work. It's just not. I helped the client get to that because she's got a very unique skill. And she's really, really good at what she does, but she could not make any money. And that's another reason, because I told her to do what I'm telling you to do. Learn how to sell. Because she's like, I don't want to do it. I was like, look, you got amazing skills, the things you can do. If you can learn how to sell, you're going to make killer money. So we go through this 3-month process. I teach her, and she bought a big package. I teach her how to sell. I mean, we do opens, close. I mean, I just literally walk her through the selling process like someone walked me through it, because, well, I should say I walked her through the process like I walked myself through the process, because I'll get back to that with the Rent-A-Crate days. how to sell. And I brought out some old techniques, some old stuff. And she got together an email list of 80 people. And she put out a $4,000 product. Out of those 80 people, 20 bought. She was blown away. Now, this is the thing about her email list. She knew everybody on the list. She had met them in person. They knew her. They knew what kind of person she was. And what she did was she reconnected with people and she reestablished those relationships and got those people on her list. 80 people, 20 sales, 4 G's a piece. Because she used old school selling techniques. Because I'm getting ready to make a decision. Well, it's pretty much already made. You'll hear about it later. But if you want to separate yourself from everyone else online, learn how to sell in person. Learn how to open and close. If you go out and practice on 20 people and take those lessons and bring them back online, you'll be ahead of so many of your peers. Selling online is a different animal at a certain level, but when you get to certain price points, you got to use that old school technique. You've got to pick up the phone, call people, make yourself available. One of the things that I've been running is Call Me, because I've been playing around with the price points. Because I'll just be honest, many people, and I get these emails about 30 a day. Hey, I just got one question. I know you charge for a consult, but I just got one question. It won't be long. It'll be yes or no. And I'm gonna do this to you. Say someone comes to your house and say they want the best you have, but they don't want to pay you, but they want the best you have. You're gonna tell them to get the fuck out your house. Now, people do that stuff to me every day, and then it's like I'm an asshole because I don't answer the email. The reality is, if you want certain things, you have to pay for them or you have to earn them. That's just it. You have to pay for them, earn them. And that's one of the reasons I did 5 minutes. Then I moved it up to 10 minutes because people that have had the best results, I've picked up the phone and we've talked, because you can't get that connection with email. I've got several companies I work with, and when the email thing is starting to get stupid, I was just like, hey, can we set up a time to have a phone conversation? We'll solve stuff in 5 minutes that could take 30 minutes or an hour emails going back and forth. Because everyone, maybe, these people, they're not stupid and they write okay, but they write well, but they don't communicate well. Writing well and communicating well are two different skill sets. So I'm probably going to move to, I'm going to make certain products available, standalone, and then I'm going to probably push really hard on the high end, because it's more fun for me. Just be strict. It's more fun. It's more profitable. It's less stressful, because I'm telling you what I went through as a salesperson. I will get through the rental crate thing in a minute. It was so hard. Let me tell you what happened when I got hired with rental crate. I have just moved out of the boarding house and worked. I was getting unemployment. That was a real slick move that I did to get that. I got the house in East Point. I got the job with Rent a Crate. I didn't have a car, so I took the bus. Fortunately, went up to Doraville Station and walked to work. It was about a 10, 15-minute walk, depending upon the day, traffic. Some days it rained like a motherfucker. So I go in there. I always got there early, and I'd be on the phone 8 to 10 hours a day. Now remember how I got the job. I had to buy these guides, and it wasn't Amazon, was not like it is now. So there was other sites. I bought this one book on cold calling, and it had a red and black cover. Gave me some amazing information. It was $12.95. Excellent value for the investment. Book was maybe that thick, but it gave me about 5 techniques that got people to call me back from voicemails. I started setting appointments. And the thing is, when I first started applying it, it didn't work that well. And the guy was saying, you just got to keep trying. You got to keep trying. And then, you know, one of the guys up front, Mike, was like, how the hell are you getting these people to call you back? Nobody gets calls back like you do. They just call back and they're looking for you and they want to talk to you. $12.95 and probably 30 to 40 hours of effort. And what I'm telling you is there are many of you who have a much better situation than I did. And I think that's maybe 90% of your problem, because things are not hard enough that will force you to produce and to build like you should. Because when I have these conversations and I talk to you and I put the stuff out there and I get all this namby-pamby, wimpy, bitchy shit like, oh, it's too hard. No, there's got to be a better way. Someone left a comment saying I was wrong and didn't watch the video the other day. I went off. Totally went off. People put in the comments, you just got owned by Glendon Cameron, because the person was so stupid to say, well, I didn't watch the video, but you're wrong. How can you know if I'm wrong when you did not review the material? It's like people that go on Amazon and leave bad reviews and don't read the book because they didn't like the author. It's just stupid. But that's what it's going to take for you to separate yourself from the rest of the people with their online courses, with their businesses. Because a few years ago, being like 10 years ago, the web was so new, anything went. Now the web is getting more mature and it's getting to the point where you're going to have to dedicate yourself to your craft to be successful. Because, you know, going back to you're wrong, and this person, and this was the thing, due to Instagram, you could blow up overnight. All right, let's have this conversation. Everybody that's looking to blow up overnight, please fucking unsubscribe from my channel. It's possible, but so is me going up to the convenience store and buying a lottery ticket and possibly winning. It's possible, but it's highly fucking unlikely. Do not bring exceptions to the rule, atypical people, outliers, and be like, well, you'll see. It's kind of like when white people say, well, yeah, you know, racism over. Look at Obama and Oprah. You got a handful of people that's supposed to say, well, see, it's possible. While half the black country is fucking broke as shit. But no, it's intellectually dishonest. Now, if you know there was like 10,000 Oprahs, okay. This is 20,000 Oprahs. Okay, I was like, all right, there's one. There's one. Now, what's funny about that is what I like to call the other black billionaires. All the ones that are outside the United States could buy all of the black millionaires that are inside the United States and have money left over. That's something to think about. But yeah, I mean, making comments out of your ass because, and I'll even get some a little deeper. The person said, well, I didn't watch the whole video since, you know, you've put out misleading information before. And I went ahead and did this. And this is the nerd in me. I went and checked when he said, see, I can find out when you subscribe to the channel, which was 2013. So if I'm giving out this misinformation, why are you still subscribed to the channel? Why are you commenting on videos? You've commented on several. Why are you still here? If essentially, let's just put it out there. You said I'm fucking lying. So if I'm lying, why are you still here? Makes no sense. See, this is the thing. And this is from being a salesperson. When you're a commissioned salesperson or you're a phone person, you deal with an incredible amount of rejection on a daily basis. I got rejected more in a week than most of you will be rejected in your lifetimes. I was making 250 calls a week. I That's 1,000 a month. That's a lot of rejection. It's a lot of rejection. It just got to the point. And I knew that I had arrived because I had called this guy 5 times. He hung up and like, don't you ever call me again. Click. And I was just like, oh, no, he didn't. Hey, we were disconnected and he just started laughing. He said, all right. I can see you next week at 10 a.m. And that's what you have to do to get past this stuff. I'm saying that all these little namby-pamby comments, most of you are faceless cowards jacking off in your mother's basement. So if you're going to come at me with statistics, not ad hominem or how you feel or the moon and the stars and all this stuff aligned and you feel you can say that. Because, I mean, seriously, if you think that I'm lying to you, if you think that I'm misleading you, fucking unsubscribe and get the fuck on. Go. Leave. Every month I get 1,500 to 2,000 new people. So your ass leaving is really not going to change a lot of shit in the conundrum. In the G conundrum. No, so leave. Take your janky ass on. Go. Get the fuck on. If you want to express yourself, start your own fucking YouTube channel and go for it. Oh, whoa. That's too much like work. That's too much like effort. That's too much like actually training yourself to do something and building yourself and making yourself more valuable to the world. No. We're just going to stay a nameless troll and keep insulting people on the basis of jealousy. Because I went off. Because this is the thing. I had a chance to be a criminal. Some people made some offers and I was broke. I was living in that boarding house and I didn't do it. When I was at my worst, I didn't do that shit. So when someone makes those kind of accusations or references, I'm going to go off on your ass and you better come with some correct information because it's easy to say, but it's fucked up. It really is. So if you think, like I said, you think I'm putting out misleading information, take your ass off this channel, get the fuck on, and don't ever come back. It's that simple. It's that simple. And that's a pet peeve of mine. Leaving comments and not watching the video. And I see it all the time because I'm like, that's the answer. Then, oh, I didn't watch the video. You lazy motherfucker. But that's the whole gist of this thing of making money online, making money, period. If you're struggling, it's because you're untrained. You haven't developed certain skill sets because the money's out there. The money's out there. It's just you haven't developed yourself to get it. And being mad, lips stuck out, pissed off, attacking people, being jealous, that's not going to get you toward the money you want. Having a singular purpose, working your ass off is a better way. I don't get jealous of people. When I see someone that's successful, I'm like, I saw someone, and I'll admit it, her name's Andrea Choice. I haven't watched her channel in a while. But when I first came on YouTube, she was one of the people I used to follow and model. She had like 25, 30,000 subs. I thought that was amazing because I had like 12. Look, the other day, she's got 3 million. Go ahead, Andrea. I see all kinds of people who, when I came on YouTube, they were there, and they just like blew up. And the thing is, it wasn't like overnight. It was over a period. And I've seen that there are many people who kind of take off at the 5, 6, 7 year period. Yeah, there are people who come on YouTube in 2013, and then they've got 1 million subscribers a year later. I guarantee you there's more to the story. I was watching this one. Her content is so fucking boring. She has no SEO, no tags, nothing. I'm just like, how the hell is she getting 1.6 million views per video? It just doesn't make no sense because she's not talented. Then I found out that she was connected to one of the top 10 YouTubers. I think he has like 25 million subscribers. I was like, oh, I've seen that happen quite a bit. Soldier Knows Best. He was dating this girl. He put her on this channel. They used to do collabs. Chris Starr, that's her name. I mean, just crazy subs. So affiliation is a very powerful way to go from nothing to massive subs and money if you're connected to certain people. There's a guy, it's a commentary. He's affiliated with one of the rappers. Same thing. So when you have like a celebrity who is not just a celebrity, but your friend, and they're like, oh yeah, watch my boy, watch my girl. That's huge in social media. It's huge. It's crazy huge. Timothy Delgado, when he put his boy Ron on, same thing. Same thing. I've seen this over and over again. So that kind of relationship can help you. And typically, when someone just comes out of nowhere, there's something like that going on. Or, I mean, let's take someone who's phenomenally talented. Casey Neistat. Took him 4 years to get to where he is. Go back, look at his earlier videos, and you'll see the growth. And this is someone that's really talented, who has a serious name brand in the real world, and it still took him 4 years. And he's a camera director person. 4 years. He just started playing around with it. So forget the overnight success stories. Forget reading Warren Buffett's books. Pick something and do that shit hard as you can, and you'll probably fucking surprise yourself. All right. So with that, this is the new thing. I got a group. It's called Glendon Cameron Sandbox. I'll be talking about it quite a bit. And essentially, I'm going back to the beginning because I didn't get this kind of shit and bullshit that was going on. So there's something I've done wrong. So I'm starting all over with the products. I got emails that are going out, and I'm suspending stuff and stopping stuff. And we're going to just, because like I said, it's just bothering me that I can get this person who's going to give me 3, 4, 5 grand, and I have to call them. And then I got people who are buying $25 to $100 products, and they're like losing their mind. And like, you know, it's like, I want a refund. And it's like, did you read the book? No, but I want to. I'm like, there's something wrong here. And the thing is, I got to take responsibility. I built this shit. I built it wrong. And I'm beginning to understand what it is. So the Sandbox is a place you cannot promote your products. Don't even come in there. If you have an ideal for something, you can say, hey, gang, I'm thinking about doing this. What's your feedback? You can do that. I'll be asking you questions. There'll be surveys. It's kind of like a mastermind group, but it's not a mastermind group. It's people who want to build stuff. So if you just want to come in and just kind of hang out and not contribute, don't join. That's one of the reasons, like, I open up the Facebook group to everybody, because there's just like a few people who are contributing, and that doesn't help the community. So if you want to just kind of hang out and suck up information and just, you know, do your own thing and not really contribute to anybody, don't join. I want it to be an interactive group. I want a lot of stuff going on. I want people who are building things. Then the second thing, while I redirect this ship and build it, I'm just going to, there'll still be the stuff on Gumroad. That's still there. You can buy it anytime you want. But everybody wants to talk to me. And this is something that I've been working on for like 6 months. I cannot talk to you for $5 an hour. I can't. It's just ridiculous. So I realized that people are not balling. So this is my happy medium. $100 per consult, but you got to buy a block of 10 at a time. I think that's fair. I think that's doable. And that could be like one a month. You got a year to use them. And I think that's to me, you know, feedback could say if I'm right or wrong, but to me, that's a more workable situation. And also it will keep people from doing this. Like, yeah, I'm going to get 10, man. Buy one and I'll never talk to them again. And they won't talk to me for 2 hours. When you hit me up, you got to understand. I did this stuff in real life. So I can read emails, what you say, what you don't say. I pretty much know when someone's trying to get over. And it's just like, really? But once again, it's about having an experience. It's about being in several different situations. It's about connecting the dots. So that's it. There'll be a annotation and there'll be a little eye. And the thing is, if you want to see the eye and you missed it, just put your finger on the video and it'll pop up and you should be able to see. If you're on mobile, you will not see the annotation. But if you're on your desktop, you will. So that's the deal. Those two things I'm about to really, really focus on. Plus a few other things I'm going to do, but I'm just going to do them and pop them out. But that's going to be the focus right there, because the people I talk to get the best outcomes. They really do. And I'm going to say this with all sincerity. Do not come to me and tell me that, hey, I want you to do something I want it to be for the low. You're just pretty much saying, I want you to be my cheap little bitch. Will you do it? And the answer is no. Nope, nope, nope. So that's the deal. That's what's going on. And once again, if you think I'm scamming you, misleading you, whatever, get the fuck off this channel. Just leave. Just leave. I don't really need that shit going on. I mean, seriously, life has enough problems as it is, because it's incongruent and it pisses me the fuck off. If you think that, why are you here? I don't go to people's houses I don't like. That makes no sense. There was this girl years ago on Facebook. We had like this Facebook party where people, friend people, and they know them, and they just had this big together meet up at Fox Sports Bar in Midtown in the Lang Station. It was real cool. Met a lot of cool people. Met this one girl. She didn't have no ass. I mean, none. I mean, I'm no longer a member of the car carrying member of the big ass appreciation crew, but she really had no ass, which would make the rest of the story seem funny as hell. So we go out. We go out to the parking lot. I walk her to her car and everything. And after that, she invites me to her house for Thanksgiving. And I really wasn't feeling her. I'm just like, I'm not going to go to her house and eat her food when I just don't like this chick. I just really don't. There's just something about her. Then there was a few other overtures. And then one day in the group, was talking about I had assaulted her. I sexually assaulted her. She asked me to go out once, invited me to her house for Thanksgiving and some other stuff. Now all of a sudden I'm this assaulter. I'm just like, what the hell? And then she put in there, you fell on my ass. And I was just like, you don't have no ass. And people in Norwood was like, come on. I mean, for real, you really don't. And it just kind of turned into this joke. But it gets to be really, really crazy when people accuse you of doing stuff you didn't do simply because they're mad. I've been mad at people, but I just don't make up shit that would impact their future or impact their reputation. No. And I was just really, now this is the rub. After all that shit, she sent me a Facebook message talking about let's hook up at 2:00 in the morning. No, I'm staying as far away from your ass as possible because you're nuts. And that's what happens with online celebrity and online presence. You get people that are not really connected with real life. It's like they treat online life as it's so different from regular life, but the ramifications can be even more compounded online because of reach and spread. But fortunately, I shut that down and nobody believed her. Thank God. Because she's done that kind of shit before. So when you have opinions of me, just leave, just go. Because if you stay just like that nut bird, that means you want something and you're getting something, because people do not go to restaurants that do not feed them. And the food's bad. They just don't. It makes no sense. So with that, check out the eye, check out the annotation, make your deals, and join the sandbox. And I'll see you in the next session.